Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Entab presents CampusCare EdTalks. So before I begin, let me quickly introduce Entab to you. We are a 20-year-old IT organization engaged in providing ERP, CRM and mobile apps to the top schools of India and help them transform from good schools to best schools. Now you must be wondering that why an IT company is holding such events. We understand that there is a need for a common platform wherein educators shall express their viewpoints. Thus, we host the Campus Care Ed Talks. So, being locked away, it is natural for students and young minds to develop some resentment and anger issues due to restrictions on their movement and lack of contact. Teenagers are more susceptible to develop some underlying issues which might resort them to feel angry and helpless considering the whole scenario. So, in order to understand the early signs of anger and resentment, we have with us our very experienced educators. So, with an illustrious career of more than 21 years in the field of education and under her able leadership, her school has won many awards such as School Excellence Award 2020, Global Innovative Award, Avantika Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award 2019, and so on. She has undertaken activities to uplift those in needs and has worked holistically to develop the education fraternity as a whole. Please welcome Sutapa Nandi ma'am, Director of Olivia Enlightened English School. Welcome to Campus Care Ed Talks, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much, and a hearty welcome to the eminent speakers and all the viewers of Entab Campus Care Ed Talk. I heartily welcome everyone in this wonderful session. Definitely dealing with teens is a Herculean task. If suppose I like first and foremost, I would say that every parent need to accept and realize this fact that raising an emotionally intelligent child is a journey, not a destination. The major stakeholder are parents, complemented by teachers and the surroundings. Parenting a teen was never easy and really is still not easy. A teenager's brain is still actively developing. It's therefore it's a processing in they are processing information differently than a mature adult's brain. Biologically, the frontal brain used to manage emotions, making decisions, reason, and control inhibitions is restructured during making decisions. It is restructured during these teenage years, forming new synapses in an incredible way, in an incredible rate, while the whole brain does not develop during the does not reach the maturity level until the mid 20s. They may seem physically grown up, they may also seem mature in some respects, but very often they simply are unable to think the things in the way the mature people does, the adult does. And to add to this are the hormone changes which occurs during this age. The teen age is the age of huge development occurring every now and then, be it physical development, be it emotional development. They are at that age when they feel that even they are grown up, they have some power, but they are not independent. Now, this particular emotion, when they are not able to, move out, they are not able to rule out, that leads to certain other emotions, which we call anger, frustration, aggression, whatever you call it. When we are talking about anger, we also need to talk about that anger is a normal, healthy emotion. We cannot say that okay, anger means you are angry means you are wrong. We also need to admit this, that anger is a normal, healthy emotion, and everybody has the right to be angry, because this is just like happiness or sadness. This is an emotion. But what leads to anger is more important. Why children are getting angry? Why at this age, very often, children lose their balance of getting tempered and being stable? So I believe that anger is a normal, healthy emotion, but many kids struggle to understand the difference between angry feelings and aggressive behavior. Anger starts with frustration. I feel anger is a secondary emotion that is preceded by other feelings such as frustration, being upset due to any loss or disappointment, feeling of being annoyed. Since it is harder at their age to find out that what to do when we are angry, when the kids are angry, they act out. With this regard, I feel that emotional education could give words to emotions that could help the children, the teens, to tackle their feelings. Giving them words to describe or label their emotions or feelings so that they can differentiate between feeling and behavior, which is a very key note to it. That this particular age, children are in a in a terrible unbalanced situation when they are converting their behavior into character, because this is the age neither we can tell that they are small nor we can say that they are adult enough to make decisions which are correct, and they themselves are also getting troubled with this particular venture of their life. So emotional education which would help the children to label their feelings, to label their emotions, and so that they can differentiate between what they feel and how they behave. So, model appropriate behavior should be there to create self awareness, which is a learning and a teaching strategy both for parents and for the teachers. We should teach our children to find out the levels of anger. If I talk about anger, anger is something which is, as I told, is preceded by other emotions. So, could the children, could the child, or could the teen identify the different emotions? When we are behaving, our behavior is actually the act of our body, and what we feel through our mind. So, whatever we feel, we act with our body. So, this feeling, which comes with a dual role of mind and body, should be understood by the kids, even by the parents. If I talk about the stage of being calm, a child is calm, means the feeling of a child is calm. The mind is calm and the body is relaxed. If the child is annoyed, the feeling of annoyance, the mind of the child, something is bothering the child. The child feels that it can't stop. If it doesn't stop, I'll do something. And here the body of the child acts like the face feels warm, the voice tone of the child change, and this is the feeling of annoyance which we need to teach our child, our children, our teens. The child becomes upset, a feeling of upset, sadness, loneliness is coming in the child, disappointment is coming in the child. The child really does not feel happy through his mind about something. The child feels disappointed and sad. How the body reacts? The body reacts as if the face and the tone of the voice shows that really the child is upset and the body is no longer calm. The next level of which leads to anger is frustration. Now, when the child is frustrated, what happens in his mind, in her mind? I'm not getting what I want. I feel uncomfortable. If I'm trying to do something, I feel like giving up. So, this is the mind of the child when the child is feeling frustration. So, how does the body react to it? The face and the body is getting hotter, and the body shows huge amount of frustration. Then comes the stage of anger. Now, in this stage, what does the child feel through his mind? The child feels very uncomfortable. He or she feels like it's very painful to be around. It is hard to think clearly. I want to express how I feel. And the body of the child reacts. The heart starts beating faster, the jaws are tensed, the fists are clenched. So, this is the action of the body which we are reflecting, we are speaking about behavior. Why the child is behaving in such a way? Because the child is feeling such a way. Now, the child is unable to vocabulate this feeling, and the child is acting through his body. After the anger, the worst part which we are afraid of because of anger is the aggression. Aggression, or we call it furiousness. What happens at this age, which we are always having a problem with, is the child is anger. We are unable to recognize the child's anger through his body, through his mind. But when the child is furious or aggressive, we are able to understand it through his violent acts, maybe hampering him or herself, or others, or hurting others. So, what happens in the mind of the child when the child is really furious? The mind is completely angry. The child feels that I need to express it anyway, whether it is through vocal or through any of my action. And what happens to the body? The entire body is hot. The child starts yelling, screaming, crying, hurting his or her own body, and expressing anger or throwing things at anything, destroying the household things, or screaming at someone. So, this is the furious stage. Now, how to help our kids when they are feeling angry? Talking about their feelings often and over time helps kids learn to recognize their feelings better. Sometimes children don't understand their own feelings. So, if we talk with them over time so that they can realize what they feel is right or wrong, is very important. But most often, we are unable to talk with them about their feelings. We are not able to understand their feelings, and neither we are giving them time to understand their feelings. So, this was about self awareness, which we need to train our child with. Next comes the self control. I think for the self control, we will have some more question answer session also for that. So, I'll just brief up the self control part. So, we need to model appropriate anger management skills, establish anger rules at our home, because now we at this pandemic, what is happening, the children are more at their home. So at home, the entire household member, especially the parents, need to establish anger rules at home, create written household rules that add to everybody's expectations. Anger rules should center around at least behaving respectfully towards others, be it any rule, because every family has their own means informal rules. Somebody, they are okay with speaking louder, but somewhere they have to speak in a timid way. So this depends upon their own family rules. But when we talk about anger rules at home, whatever rules are set up, make sure that your rule always have something that suffices to behaving respectfully towards each other. Teaching them healthy coping skills. When I'm angry, what should I do? These are the things which you should do when you are angry. So the tips can be given by the parents. You can draw whatever you want. You can sing a song. You can move out from the place. You can smell a good, a sensical thing, because sometimes, whatever gives you happiness can lose your anger. So, what can bring happiness to the child should be done during that time to cope up with the anger management system, to cope up with the anger. Fill a box with any item which you like the most and open the box when you are very angry. We all know about counting 1 to 10. We all know about drinking water. But there are something else which we can do. A timeout, a hangout with your friend can also be a tip for controlling or managing the anger emotion. And also offer consequences. Consequences can be positive or negative according to your house rule. It's normal for kids to struggle to manage their anger at times. But with your guidance, parental guidance, and teacher's guidance, your child's skills to develop the anger should improve. When kids struggle to get them, get their anger under control on their anger problems, they seem to be getting more tense. So, as a parent, as a teacher, we all should be there at this particular point of their life when they need to know how to solve any problem, how to take decision, how to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. And with this, I just conclude my today's view. I think we will be hearing more from our eminent speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words. And next, we have with us a very experienced educator having an experience of more than 2 decades. Sir has been associated with top schools of India, and he has been awarded with Excellence in Teaching Award, and is also a president of Punjab Six-a-Side Association. Please welcome Ajay sir, principal of the Punjab Public School. Welcome to Campus Care EdTalks, sir.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
and
Well,
yes, sir.
uh, well, to sum it up, Miss Madam Sutapa has covered most of the issues what we discuss about anger management. But if we decode the topic and look forward for that in terms of the two most important words which define your topic is understanding and then dealing with. So the first thing which I always have felt very closely whenever looking at a teenager, possibly the teen word which we are looking at is Abhimanyu. You know that the teenager is totally defined by bundle of energy, matlab, ooze ounces of energy which they have. They are ready to take on the world. You know, they can do anything and everything possible. But the whole point of being a teenager also is they don't know where to stop.
Yeah.
You know, that is what they lack in terms of being a teenager. They haven't seen the world, so the experience is not there. As was pointed out earlier, yes, there are certain developments in the brain which are happening. A teenager will react with a basal brain. You know, there's a basal brain which is known as the amygdala, which reacts. So that is where the teenage and the mature age is different. The mature age would depend on the prefrontal cortex, which reasons out, which thinks, which analyzes, and then reacts and responds. A teenage would typically react to a situation. So, as anger has been said as a normal phenomena, it's absolutely normal to be having anger. But the whole point is about how to manage that outburst of anger or how to manage the expression of anger. Because a teenage boy or a girl would be expressing that anger in a way which contradicts what we are used to as a societal norm. That should not confuse anybody that a teenager is a villain. These are teenage symptoms which we have all gone through. So there is a normal reaction pattern in a teenager which we need to appreciate. It's there. It will be there. It will always be there. But certain things, when they go beyond and progress on to self-inflicted harm or an injury or harm or violent act outside himself, then that's a matter of concern. So typically, if you look at this behavioral things and understand how they react to, something which can stimulate their anger, there will be a subtle difference between the way a boy would react or a girl would react. What I have seen across in my dealing with students is a boy would be more, vocal and expressive, outgoing in the expression of his anger, because that's how typical Indian society has raised them. The male voice is more heard, the male voice is more predominant, the female voice is a bit more about talking it out. So the female teenagers would be speaking out or saying some things, vocalizing things, and not essentially into more of a violent act. So we need to be aware about how they respond and how they react. At the same time, are we judging a teenager for all his actions with a judgmental eye? It's all, oh, this guy is a bad guy, it's all his hormones and etc. etc. So we need not label somebody just because of the hormonal factor or the age factor. There is no need to label it. There have been instances when I have sat with, because I also used to counsel my students. I have sat through them. It is only they need to be heard. Just hear them out with an eye contact, you giving them their full focus, and things have become better. This is my experience, because I've been a housemaster, and a housemaster has, immense access to the inner world of the child in a boarding school. So that listening factor, that ear factor is very important. What we look at in today's world is, when this entire corona pandemic has happened, is everybody has come onto the system. Everybody has come onto the system, whether it is a mobile or a laptop or a device, we are all on a system. So they're, as it is, lonely. A teenager would be more, outgoing. Their life is friends. Their life is more with peer group. And that has stopped. We should never confuse as elders that if he is with his friends, he has forgotten us. It's natural to bond more with friends in this age than to be bonding more with the parent. They don't leave us. They need us. But typically how we react is that he doesn't care about me, or she doesn't care about me. So be involved. Don't take a back seat. Make sure as a family, as a unit, as a school, residential school, where you are dining at regular times with your family members, including the teenager. So the more you set certain boundaries, the more you set certain expectations, the more you set certain mutually agreed goals, the better it is for a teenager to learn to appreciate and acknowledge it. Though they will transgress it, for that you don't need to punish it. Secondly, sometimes you may feel short of ideas as to how to deal with the teenager anger or something which is more violent, or breaking of things, or just stamping of the foot, banging of the door. These are normal. I want to reach out to all the segments of society. This is a perfectly normal behavior. Don't react as a parent, as an elder at that point of time. That is where most of the things have gone wrong, I have seen over the period of time. The other person, the teenagers is reacting, you are reacting, it becomes a kind of a bout situation, and the resolution will never happen. Just give that space. Just allow that child to express his anger and walk away. When he has calmed down, when he has cooled down, reach out. Don't reach out with anger. Reach out with suggestions. Reach out with an open mind. Reach out with an openness to listen to the child, to the teenager rather. So these are certain nuances which we all can do, but what happened in the heat of the moment, we just forget how to react. So it's about training ourselves as well as passing on that entire approach to the teenager. That is where we miss out. As an elder, we want him to hear us. As a typical Indian parent, I would like my son to hear me out. If he doesn't hear me, I need to get angry on him. So what am I teaching? I am teaching that this is a normal way of reaction. Yeah. I am getting angry on you. That means you can also get angry on somebody who doesn't listen to you. This is what we generally breed our children upon. Wrong notions, wrong ideas. As it is, today's world, you will find children are accessible to all kinds of these serials on the Netflix or all those channels which are more violent in nature because they sell more. They're playing games which are violent in nature. So it becomes a behavioral reaction pattern because they're used to violence on a system. They're not used to violence in a real life scenario. Yeah. And that is where it goes wrong because they're unaware about the consequences. Nobody has guided them. Nobody has told them. That's where the cybercrime also comes in and the entire reactions, including, the locker room which happened in Delhi. It's all aggression and things which come out in a different way. So the first is when the topic was given, I was just looking at the word understanding. So we need to understand and appreciate. It's not about demonizing the teenager. It's about understanding it. And then there are different ways of dealing with the child. You need to be there when he needs you. Don't judge him, but be there with him. Just hear him out. Don't pass on your criticisms. Don't fight with him. There should be a common ground. Allow the child space. It's said, there should be a space for the child to just react into, have you seen boxing bouts? After every 3 minutes, they retreat to a corner. That's the cooling down time. So there should be a cooling down time to a teenager. Give him that respect. Give him that, let him go away. Always also, as an elder, expect to be rejected. There will be rejection. It is not necessary. It is not mandatory that what you're saying, he will listen to it and imply or act upon it. He may reject it outright. There you need to control yourself as an outsider. So it's a two-way process where the teenager should be understood. There is a good book, I'm forgetting the name of the author. how the teenage brain is wired, which has been mentioned by Ms. Sutapa already. The teenage wiring is different. They prefer working in the night. Today's teenager wants the night time. That's his lifetime. They want to sleep in the daytime. But can our schools think about starting at 12 o'clock? No. You see the mismatch between the life of a teenager and the school life. So there are a lot of issues which we need to respond to and react to. As and when the questions crop up, we'll answer more. Let's hear Charanpreet, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You spoke a lot. I mean, a maximum whatever could be spoken on this topic, and ma'am also. Biologically, you have told the difference. Like, what is the difference between a coming up, budding teenager and the person who's already mature? But I'm, I really question that why we always relate anger with teens, because I don't think if you see the Kisan Morcha these days, can you see what all they are doing over there? So they are neither mature nor they are kids. Problem is this: they are fixed in between this threshold that where to move. So we have to tell them, because they cannot decide logically what they are doing, but they think that whatever they are doing is right. But anger comes to everybody, right, sir? So, like, we should not relate it with the angry. Oh, the reaction is different. Yes, of course the reaction is different, and we have to overcome that with the logical truths. You have to show them, yes, here they are wrong. Sometimes we have to show them the way. Yes, okay, you do it, then see the result, whether it is destructive also. I always tell my students, in fact, my son, sometimes whatever he says, like, this is what I want to do. I said, it will be this, whatever you get after this. So he said, no, you are wrong. See, ऐसा नहीं होता. I'm going to tell you, ये होता है. I said, okay, fine, do it. Then I put him, although it is not he should cross the limits and heights. The thing is that small risks I allow him to take, even if he's not able to achieve or he's not coming up with that. But still, even my students, I always tell them, yes, take the risk. It's very important. It is very important to take the risks and taking the challenges, until or unless they see this is the age where their brains tell us this. Yes, sometimes they are very theoretical, they are not practical. Whatever they have read, yes, we have to go. Suppose in a religious community also, they think, no, we can be right. But they have to face the world practically. This is what they have to do. And especially in the case of these days, when the pandemic is going on and the children are at home, um, many things have emerged. Many students have come up with their new ideas and techniques. The other child, he made something which can be a sanitizer from Punjab side, I think so. He made a sanitizer which can sanitize the whole body, and it came across the whole world.
Yeah.
So the thing is, anger should be considered as the part of their age, and it is coming to everybody. This anger can help them also, because if they take the things very strongly, they become determined to do whatever. We need to give them challenge, we need to give them motivation. Yes, uh, we need to understand them and channelize them in a particular track, on a particular track. The main thing is that we are becoming orthodox. I'm not saying I'm 50 years old, so I belong to that category. That yes, our times were different. We were afraid of our parents and teachers, and we were always giving them proper respects. But nowadays the things have are different, absolutely different. Unless they take the challenge, they will not be able to face the world. So there was a child. I'll just share one incident with you. There was a child, 36% he got, and he was like adamant. Yes, I want non-medical. I said it's not possible. Uh, but he said no. I will take non-medical. I said it is not possible. You still just clear your 10th class, do the improvement, and I'll do that. And his father said, ma'am, please let him come to the school and give him provisional admission. I did that. Okay, fine. And that child scored 60%. I said, it's not bad that you are uh, becoming like become like adamant for anything. You become, and his father even said, ma'am, he says, if he'll not do this, he will commit suicide. So this is what was this is mine. But I took the risk. I said, okay, let him come to the school. I will not give him admission until or unless he shows me the result that is crossing the particular line, which is important for this area. So we did this. So we then have to help them out, give them a helping hand plus challenge, so this can track that. So there are many cases I would like to share with you that these people are the way you said they get angry, they slam the doors, they are reckless, and they become hyper. But yes, we have to, as a parent, we have to take the first step to accept this. This is their body change, hormonal change, plus the brain part, which is having the changes. Like I have already mentioned, ma'am said to give me your profile. I'm a teacher of mathematics, so I always try to put the formula in life. Nothing can be. There's nothing which cannot be solved. So everything is, I always tell, I start with lecture, yes, everything can be solved by, if not by this formula, you can try the other formula. Yes. Uh, that's what, that's my viewpoint.
Ma'am,
So I
I
would
was,
like that.
yeah. Ma'am, I was about to say to our audience that Charanpreet's ma'am vision of life is to solve difficulties by applying the formula of life.
That's what. And I have really seen the changes, and I have really seen the problems are solved, theorems are solved with different kind of methodologies if we apply on them.
Thank you, ma'am. And ma'am, starting the webinar, like all what you said about the classrooms, I want to, as an educators, one of your biggest concern in today's scenario would be to look out for signs of anger, resentment, and conflict in teenagers, while attending the online classes. So our viewers would like to understand what mechanisms you have undertaken to deal with such issues.
Well, the first challenge was to actually get them on the online classes. Make them, be up and ready. So the second challenge was, we were trying to force the issue of having the camera open, and they were grossly reluctant. Possibly the reasons which we got later was they may be on the bed, they would be likely seated cozily, and may not like to be seen. A couple of other issues also came up. The girls were slightly reluctant because there could be some episodes of being clicked. So as we got going on the entire process of teaching learning on the camera, you also became better at understanding why they are reacting like this, why are they behaving like this. So one is you could not have online classes throughout the day. You had to space it, give them breaks in between. All the more when we gave the breaks in between, we also found the platform which you use, they could write comments towards each other. So that was a signal as to some reactions are coming in on passing comments on each other. So though you had to make sure that that was attended to, that was addressed. Then, of course, when the assignments started, the receiving of the assignments was a difficult task to begin with. Why should I? It's okay. Their understanding was it's okay. It's not a regular classroom. So the whole idea was to make them understand that yes, you are being judged. Maybe the entire year may pass through. How would you be graded? Suppose the boards come up with the conclusion that let us have the grades. What has been graded by the school? That would be your result. So this was then hammered in gradually over a period of time. But in all fairness, as a teenager on the camera, on the system, they have not been as I would also not have been honest with the exams facing on the camera, because yes, the results have been inflated. We all appreciate that. We all understand that. But give that marks, give that benefit of doubt. You cannot do anything about it, right? But for any major exam, especially for the teenagers, I think in a couple of months we should have some offline exams where they come in and give the exam so that we have a correct assessment. It's all about correctly assessing how they are prepared. My school opened up after the Punjab government allowed. So I'll give you the feedback from the horse's mouth. So when they came back on campus, the first question when I interacted with them was, how was that online classes? So said everything was good. The teachers were making a lot of efforts, but honestly, sir, we didn't study.
Yeah.
That was an honest admission by a majority of the people who were attending classes, that too 10th and 12th, the two major classes facing board exams. They were honest to admit that, sir, we didn't study. So we are all the more particular to come back to school. And now we are happy. In 10 days' time, when we took the feedback, they were very excited, they were very happy. And when we asked them, how much do you want to study, which all portions to revise, they said the whole syllabus. Now see the reality and see the facts. And here we have been making efforts from March to try to cover the syllabus. We are, as teachers, we are tom-tomming. Yes, my syllabus is complete. We have done everything. The child is not yet ready. So the teaching has happened, learning has never happened.
Yeah, that is true, sir.
And then we are reaching out to the parents, complaining, "Aapka bacha camera nahi on kar raha hai." That is where the conflict started. The parent said, what can I do? I'm telling him, I'm counseling him. The parent was also at a loss. So it was all trying to just reach out, talk, and get them to that. There was no 100% success, let me admit. But yes, there was a reasonable amount of success. Even today, I can tell you there are some who just don't open the cameras, or some who open the system and then walk away. Accept it.
And Sutapa ma'am, what about you?
I totally agree to whatever Sir said. There is no difference with, I think, I hope so, any school. What he spoke is like, though we did not have the children on campus in West Bengal, but the conditions are same.
Yeah.
If suppose like the conflict began, as he said, yeah, that turning on the cameras. So we are having a continuous invigilation by our heads, those who they are entering and giving a flying visit to the classes, and the teacher is totally unable to understand what to do because the children are not opening their videos, they are not switching on their videos, and it's a condition for the teacher to make them open the videos, opening on videos. And nowadays the type of bunking of classes is switch off your camera, switch off your audio, and you bunk the class.
Yeah.
This is the bunk class. Like, it's not to just move out of the wall. If you need to bunk your class, just switch it off. You're bunking the class. That's all. We have tried to stimulate certain strategies, which I want to share, though it is like not exactly with anger, but what we have done is we are continuously talking with the parents. We are giving strict guidelines, but yes, things have not turned up 100%. You can say it is 50%. But examination, I suppose, like, it's more better in the junior section as compared to the senior section, because juniors, they listen to their teachers, they listen to their parents, and hopefully I see all the children keeping their videos on, even if they are having a small activity class. But when it goes to classes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they are totally like away with the putting their videos on. Often, very often, we see that the classes are on and only we find out, M, J, K, A, B, C, D written. And that means people are talking, but it's like a con call going on. It's not a, video call going on, a video class going on. It's a con call going on. So hardly, yeah, we need to accept it. And about this anger part, what can be said is like, if through online we are not able to visualize the child, it is very hard to even understand the temperament of the child. So it is very tough for the teachers who are dealing with these classes, and hats off to them, hats off to the teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. If I'm not stopping you, like I always go for the assessment. Okay, the child has not attending the class. He's not attended the class, and the child has bunked the class. As you said, it is with everybody. Everybody is facing that. But the assessment part was given more stress. Right at the end of the week, they are given the assessment and practical. They were told to make the videos and send to us. How did they do this? And even the cooking part, a chemical reaction was told in the cooking part. So it is, it was a challenge for us. It's not only for the students. It is a big challenge for the teachers and the educators. How to bring them on the track, on that platform, right? So better go with whatever they like. If they like and come across, even if they have not attended the lecture, they should be able to come through whatever they have said, they have learned. They will go. If they will not listen to teacher, they will at least do the self study and come across. I'm speaking about this just for the from the classes 9. As you said, yes, the younger ones do attend. They hardly sixth till sixth standard. The children do attend and they do agree. They are obedient with the parents and all and the teachers. But the ones who are coming across, they want to they reflect. But this can be the way which we have found. In fact, it was a great learning for us too. That we have learned how to handle such kind of students and how to come give them a different task with a different ideas and technology. Because if they are lying, suppose the child is speaking lie, so you don't have to say that yes, you are speaking lie. You say yes, you are absolutely correct, but give me this answer. Like, this is what I have taught. You are absolutely correct. Tell me what happened that day. So yes, it is challenging and learning for us also. But yes, uh, um, I find it. Found it very tricky. In fact, I loved this kind of thing. I wasn't angry that the children are not attending. I was rather more. I accepted the challenge and I said, we should do some. I hope every educator this. Some people did open book exams, and so that yes, if they have not studied, do open your book and do the exam. This is what I'm asking you. Find out in such five. So yes, the things are this, but you cannot stop the child from doing anything which is deceiving us. But at least we can find out something so that he is able to learn that. If I would like to have your views too, ma'am and sir.
Yeah, I mean, some of the other learning was to go for the usually tried and tested Viva. So you switch on the camera, I'll ask you
Yes.
questions, you answer me. That was safest, perhaps. But every exam
Yeah,
cannot be a
absolutely.
Viva exam. And the most interesting part is we got to know the usual response. Sir, technical kharabi ho gayi hai, so I can't switch on my camera. There is something wrong technical, and that's off, and that's gone. So rather here, I found they angered more to be with the teachers because they were working, on it's a double work for the teachers, preparing the online lessons and then delivering it online. So it was teachers getting angry because their actions were not being reciprocated with the amount of effort they were putting. So we had to come down the teachers as well. It was not only the teenagers back home on the systems; it was also the teachers because it's all about uh, the feeling of losing out, not getting appreciated for the efforts. But at the end of the day, we had to tell the teachers that you calm down, relax. It is not the end of the day. Let's move on. Let's have even if 50% attendance. That's okay. Let's move on. So it became better gradually. Yes, a strict action could not be taken because of the situation. We wanted children to be on board and attending classes. So how can you just take an action? Don't attend classes. That is what they want. So you could not actually progress to that step, right? You could not take out the child. It's against the laws. So how to deal with it? It's only cajoling, talking out, reaching out. Two couple of things which also started working out was when we started involving teachers to get them to do something in terms of physical activity. That helped. They used to participate. But again, if you did it in the early morning, they would not. You do it late, late in the day, they would participate. right? Then some activities also started, they participated. Some debates started, they participated. So you had to just keep on working in different strategies to get them involved and engrossed, to keep them engaged. It was about engagement basically.
So for our school, like what we have told the teachers, it's about assessment, as ma'am said. Yes, definitely, assessment is the actually what we want is learning should happen. It's not about only keeping their videos on and nothing is happening. It's about whether the learning, the approach by the teacher for the teaching process and the outcome of learning has happened or not. So assessment was the best way, and video assessment, audio assessment, written assessment. Though written is open book, I can accept that written is open book, but the verbal one, which is with video and audio is the best one. So in this COVID situation, when we have started these virtual classes, I feel in some way or the other, the expression of some children who were underexpressed are better. Means I'm not talking about like everybody, but there are some children where we, when we come with teachers conversation and all, we find there were some children who were totally inexpressive in their classes, but are very much expressive in the they are very much expressive virtually. So somewhere it's good, and I feel this COVID, with this adversity, it has given great opportunities for us to think as educators that what can be done more, because in this wholesome situation of session in session out, we were not getting time to think something differently. It was something like, okay, this can be added as the USP, but we have never thought what is actually the demand. We are getting ample time to think, to innovate, to experiment, and to experience. So this is a very good time which gave us adversity with huge opportunities which we should utilize.
So to add on now, if you allow me,
Yes, sir.
if you now look at the things which have come up in the new education policy, the whole concept of assessment has to undergo a sea change. We have been used to a pen and paper test over the years as the normal way of assessing a child. Now we have become more open to that. There are different formats of assessment, right? We can have a dialogue going, and you can have an assessment on the the delivery, the style, the language used. Even a mathematical thought process can be assessed. So that has opened up the doors, and even kids have learned to work in a group, come up with a presentation. So those skills have come. Anger has been more at home vis-a-vis the school. So let us, it's more at home, directed at home, because they are not going out. They were all bottled inside the home. So they were venting out the anger at home on the parents. And they were reaching out to us as to how to sort it out. Please help us. So that is how we were working. And then we used to ring up the children, talk to them, and try and cajole them, get them in, ask the parents to get them to do something where, some physical element was involved. The energy needed to be spent. So it was more the parents reaching out and the school reaching out via the parents to the children. So anger was more at home. That's where the parenting was essentially targeted by the schools, guided by the schools.
Sir, I was about to ask this question, how you're dealing with. So now I'll ask it that what strategies and activities can parents undertake to help their teens successfully cope with the anger issues? Just like you said, na, that it's starting from the home. So what activities you suggested your parents?
Number one, if if they were in a neighborhood where they could move around. So the first thing which we always requested was that the child should get some space to move, some space to actually get out of that space and the bubble of living inside a home and the premises 24/7, because that is where we're all caught up.
Yeah.
And the space and the homes where this was happening, there was lesser of anger. Number one. Number two, parents also said that here we have been talking about taking the gadgets away. Now it's all gadget life. And the moment nobody's observing, they're also playing their games. The kids are more smarter. So they can be on the game and they can easily switch off and attend the classes. So there the anger was when somebody it's kind of tokoed the child, why are you playing? You should be in the class. Again, that anger was erupting. मैं तो class ही कर रहा हूँ, that's the kind of response. So we ask the parents to just let it be and keep an eye and get a feedback from the teacher and the teacher handling the child. So it was working with the parent through the child, right? Then, of course, we have started also reaching out to the parents that if they're loving this gadget so much, at least go for certain games which, you have to stand up and play.
Yeah.
So stand up and play. I found my children also working more on the where you have to construct, where you have to make something. So get them creatively involved in doing something on the systems rather than just playing a normal game, which is more of violence based. Talking out, sitting together, dining together, having a feedback from them about what they did in the classrooms. It worked more with the younger ones because they are more willing to talk. With the elder ones, they were not so receptive, rather they are withdrawn more. So luckily in this world, the communication did not get a lockdown. So we asked the parents to allow them to communicate with their friends so that the channel is open. They could take out, the channel of communication with their friends. So you needed to be very sure about the buddy systems existing. In a school, you know that which student gels with which student. So we use their support. So that's how we started finding strategies to help out the children and the parents as well to keep them. And I found one thing very particular: that children have been more resilient in this pandemic. That is my observation. They have been more resilient. They have been more successful. Maybe because they're a gadget age, generation possibly. But I am reserving my comments and saying with conviction that they have been more resilient and they have been more successful rather than we elders.
And Sutapa ma'am, what about you? What strategies do you think the parents should take?
The first thing is keeping, like earlier also Sir said, but I want to just elaborate it, keeping the communication line open.
Yeah.
Because this is the only way to understand your team. Because most of the time what happens, even if suppose right now if I talk, when 2 months we were totally locked down, things were a little different. We were just waiting for the next day, okay, what announcement is going to happen, and everybody was eagerly waiting for the news channel. Frankly speaking, I never used to actually see so many news, but this pandemic has made me see, means I have seen like either Bengali news or Hindi news or English news. Something better should I hear? What should I hear better? But it was only the numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers, like, the numbers and the numbers and the numbers. And I used to call it, okay, how many wickets gone and what was the score? It was something like that.
Yeah.
But after 2 months or 3 months, when things have turned and things have started opening, and even we are not allowing our children to go out, even now when the school is closed, we always tell our children not to move out. In this particular scenario, what has happened is parents are on their work. Parents, they have got some financial crisis and they now have to work more harder. They have to move out from their home. So children are now left alone. This situation is more troublesome. The situation which is prevailing right now, when everything is opened but schools are closed. Because everybody is at their normalcy. If you talk about a festival, if you talk about the adult people, everybody is back into normal. We are coming to our workplace, we are doing our work as and when required, but children are only sitting in front of their gadgets and they are attending either classes or they are doing some of their timeouts. But this particular moment is the main moment that when we should actually deal with our children to in the way of communication. Maybe whole day I did not get time to talk to my children, but the evening should be a get together time. The child should feel that my father has come home means it's a big time for me that my father has come home. Be it a child studying in class nursery or 4 or 12. This line of communication should be there. A get together should be there at every time whenever the father or the mother, if both of them are working outside, both of them are coming home. Otherwise, what happens? The mother coming in, the father coming in, the mother busy in the kitchen, the father busy with their phone or with the television or any other thing, and the child is all left alone. This loneliness is actually builds up the anger, because when children are growing at their teen age, first what happens, they have a particular, a temptation of crying. When they don't get something, what they do, they cry, and we understand that okay, they are crying means they need something. But right now they are wanting something which they cannot express, and they burst out with anger. And that anger, bursting of that anger, is the aggression or the behavior which gets reflected. So giving more time and keeping the line of communication, allowing them to speak, hearing from them with ample time is very, very important, which is what happened for 2 months or 3 months when we all were locked down was very different to which what is happening now. So the line of communication should be open. We should be a very good and active listener. As sir also said, accept rejection definitely. But the first thing, you will accept rejection that time when you are hearing them. Most of the time, the child speaks and you are doing something else. No, you are concentrated to what he is speaking or she is speaking, and you are taking active part. You are empathetic towards the child with the situation the child is facing. This empathy is very important from the parent's point of view, because what happens for the parent, whatever the child has said, from 1 year the parent has taken, and what is very, what is to be neglected, the parent has already neglected. But what was important, the parent has directly reverted it in such a way, why did you do this? The question comes, why did you do this? Instead of speaking, okay, if in your place I would be there, I think I wouldn't do it this way. I would do it in this way. If suppose this type of empathetic situation can be built up between the parent and the child, because during the teen especially, the child is at that age when the child is gaining power physically, emotionally, and feeling a sense of independence come in the child. Like, as I'm a little bit powerful, as I'm not wanting, like, to take a bag, I don't want my mother's help, I can do it alone. Okay, to carry the table from one place to another, I can do it alone, which I wanted my mother to help me. But now I'm gaining the power. A power sense comes to them, and this power sense develops in them the point of independence, that yeah, I'm independent enough to do this. But what happens as parents, we are giving them some restrictions. So these restrictions can be withdrawn accordingly with time to time. But first, you open the line of communication so as to what your child actually is thinking. Because this thought process to know by the parent is very important. Then comes monitoring. Monitoring is the last part, because entering the privacy of a teen should also be neglected. Should also be neglected, I say. So this is what, like, we are at the crucial age. Children are at home. Schools are open. Children are least bothered to study. Those schools are open, but they are at home. We need to at least, bring happiness in their staying at home also. How can we bring happiness when they are staying at home, so that anger subsides this happiness?
And Charanpreet ma'am, what's your take on it?
I fully agree with ma'am. Of course, it is very important because sitting can make them obese, and they can take on so many diseases. So I told students to help their parents, yes, in cooking, in organizing their shelves, and help out them with gardening. Yes, that was one of the very good feedback and the outcome from the students. They learned the gardening, and teacher showed them that how to do this. The teacher was teaching them, in fact, like, and they were teaching that cycle of the budding and the plant cycle. That was also, she was teaching how do you sprouts and all that, do get the sprouts out of it. And one more thing which was very important, like I liked, what I did was that the yoga teacher was always available in the morning, and he wanted the students to be there. The students which were not there, they were giving their videos later on. and good response was there in the physical activities which we tried to create. Obviously, many schools have done this, and the painting competition and the creative competition they have, I think, organized. Everybody has organized, and the CBSE also has given us some instructions which we had to send to them. So yes, but the togetherness, bridging part should be there between the parents and the student, that they bridge up, like, so that they feel that yes, we can help our parents, and they feel happy in many ways. They can be happy in many ways even if the child is not able to do. So we have to look after them, that yes, how they can come across this, and they do feel happy when they come across this. Many things which they learned, even technically they have learned so many things by making videos, and even for this platform the students have learned. They are making videos even on teachers days. They made that collage videos, and they sent us with beautiful songs and all. So I think creativity is the biggest tool which can help them out to come out of this and bring learning as well as happiness, right?
Surely, ma'am. So, before closing the webinar, I would like to ask one question that soon we'll be seeing a surge in online admissions and registrations. So, therefore, our parents would like to know how can they select a good school for their child. So, Stupa, ma'am, I'll start with you.
Selecting a good school, the first criteria is that whether the child and the school, whether the child and the school means, first of all, if you tell me that, yeah, come to my school and my school is the best school, that does not happen always. It is always the wish of the parent and the child to select a school. But to select a school, the first thing which I feel is not to see the infrastructure, but to see the pedagogical methods, the methods the teachers they are using to teach for the holistic development of the children. Because most very often what we see, a beautiful prospectus, a beautiful infrastructure, and that's all. The child is decided to be put up in that school. Definitely infrastructure is one of the major part for the learning process of the child. But the first thing which, as a parent, if you tell me as a parent, what I will see is what type of teaching and learning process is going on in the school, what type of creativity is being taken out from the children. For example, I'm telling you one thing, like in our school, what we do is, we have recently innovated something. Apart from many things, every school is innovating something new or the other, but in academics, we have innovated something. That is, we have innovated something called as writing challenge. We have writing challenge classes. So in this class, what we do is, like, writing skill is something, it's a skill which a child, if has the potential to writes n number of pages. And if a child is unable to write, sometimes even children are unable to write a single sentence. So what can be done, what can be, what temperament can be given to the children, or what type of stimulation can be given to the children, that they are writing, the pen is not stopping and they are writing. So what we did is, we started an innovative method of writing challenge. Now, what is this writing challenge? We first started with a 15 days diary writing challenge. Now, this 15 days diary writing challenge does not consist of you write what you are doing every day. Every page, we gave many stimulations with pictures, with quotations, and the pointers where they should write, so that they feel that writing is very easy. We also started with, in this writing challenge, we don't have notice writing and article writing. What we have innovative things to write. Diary writing is one of them. Next comes be a leader. They write their own quotes. Our children are writing quotes as leaders do. We are having travelogue writing. So these type of writing challenges we are doing, so that what happens is, this creates a creative intuition in the child. a curiosity in the child that yes, I can write. Yes, I should write. Oh, I can write more. So these are the things which we are doing, and this type of things, these innovations in pedagogy should be seen, because if suppose you talk about the children of nowadays, orthodoxically going to the only the chalk and talk method, or even with the technology driven courses, you will not be able to satisfy or bring the creativity in the children, because the children are much more creative than what we are. But to take out the creativity, the teachers need to be more creative, more innovative. So, the first thing which I feel to select a school is not the percentage what the the batch has got, not the because percentage can be scored by anybody, not the type of infrastructure, not the type of as I said, the what to say. The prospectus or the vibrancy, the pictures, only to see the innovation created by the teachers. Because it has to go on. Otherwise, we will create only children, those who are able to satisfy the demand of this generation, not for the generation which is required after 10 to 20 years when they are going to the job opportunities. Because if teachers are not creative, if school is not innovative and creative, they cannot generate kids, those who are innovative or creative. So I feel that should be looked upon by the parents.
And Charanpreet, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am is absolutely right. It is not the marks or percentage of child which is more important. Values, creativity, and overall development of the child is very, very important. What a person feels to enter to a school. Of course, monitoring, digital monitoring, like these days we do have from the camera side, and everything is monitored properly. Safety of the child is very, very important, which parents look forward these days. They come and see the infrastructure, they see the buildings, how our children are going to be like taken in the school. So those equipments are important too. Plus creativity and values are in our schools. We definitely go ahead for the values which a child should understand. Like giving respect to everybody, counseling, the things go beyond the school limits, the textbooks. The child is able to create a thing beyond the textbooks and CBSE curriculum, whatever the curriculum is given by them, and they should be given the platform for the exposure. Yes, that's important. So I think these 4 5 points are definitely important. Why the parent would go ahead for the better school, sports, and obviously extracurricular activities. Everybody look forward to that for this. Thank you.
And Ajay, sir?
Well, I would have a different take because I have been essentially a boarding school kind of a background guy, so Mayo College or Genesis and now the Punjab Public School. So for me, it's what the parent wants in his or her child. So typically, an Indian parent wants the child to make money.
Yeah.
If you look at the common notion today, they want the child to have lots and lots of money. And for that, what right now exists is they look at schools which are churning out good results.
Yeah.
So to reach out to the parents, to have open days so that they can go around, look at schools, which they need to be as kind of an open day, which I like in the West. They keep open days so that everybody can walk in, look around the campus, can also get into a classroom and see what the school is all about. It's not only, as pointed out, not only the infrastructure. Yes, certainly, the infrastructure is also an important component, but not the only component. They need to look at what the school can provide to the child as a finished product. So today, if my children in the evening, come spick and span dressed for the dining, so we have inculcated certain dining etiquettes as to how to come out as a gentleman or a gentle lady, even to the mess after your 1 hour of prep. Prep means you take the responsibility of your own study time without anybody interfering, without anybody disturbing. So my takes have been different because I promote really, I bat for residential schools. That doesn't mean that day schools are not good. They are also equally good. It's the parent should decide what I want for my child. And accordingly, they should look at schools which provide a safe and secure environment, number one. Because today's it's a matter of great concern. Otherwise, the school can be sued for unnecessary reasons. Even when a child slips and falls down, it's the school's gross negligence is what the word is used by parents. And the school gets sued. So safety, security, all the protocols are in place. You have a principal at least who is stable. You have faculty which has stayed there. It should be a mixture of some senior faculty, some middle grade 5-year faculty, and some newcomers. So there has to be a good balance of faculty. There has to be a vibrant atmosphere and a feeling of some happiness when you walk around the school. So always walk around the school. And of course, the school should be producing good results. And then you can also look at where the children from a school are going further after school. So this should be what I think criteria when they should look at good schools. Otherwise, a lot of good schools are in this country.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for the suggestions that you've given to the parents, and for all the kind words and your insights for dealing and understanding the angry teens. And thank you to all the viewers who have joined with us today. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for this platform.
Thank you, ma'am.